Hello, and welcome to Progressive Behavior. My name is Iryna Richko, a behavior analyst. In today's episode, I would like to talk about inequality. Now, inequality is a very important subject, especially for me, because inequality is a product of human behavior. If there was no human behavior, we would not even know what that word means. So, in order for us to understand inequality and why it exists, why it continues to exist, we first must understand one thing. Any human behavior only occurs when it's reinforced. That is a number one rule. So whatever you see people are doing, the reason why they're doing it is because the environment is delivering reinforcement for that behavior. Now, inequality basically means that there's two groups. One experiences excess and another one experiencing deficit. But why? And more precisely, for what purpose is this happening? Well, we need to look at the behavior of the two groups. The biggest difference between the top people, that's what I can refer them to, or the elites, or the people with global power, whatever term you want to use, basically. A group of people who can have an ability and access to resources to control variables in our environment, which in turn can control our behavior. And then the second group of people, which is by numbers is a much, much larger group of people. And here, this is what we can refer to as people in poverty. We can refer as a middle class. Basically, it's all one group. We can refer them to as workers. But the biggest difference is that this group experiences deficits and the other group experiences excess. Now, it's more than obvious to understand that behaviorally, the smaller group of people who are in control are addicted to the excess of resources. They are behaviorally addicted to hoarding wealth, hoarding land, hoarding control over certain environmental variables, and they're not to blame. It's the fact that they're doing this is because they were taught to do this. The wealthy have accumulated generations over generations of wealth and knowledge about behavioral control of other human beings. And the reason why, it's because it's reinforced. When they engage in this behavior, they get reinforcement back. What kind of reinforcement? Usually it's wealth, access, and power over humans, and basically having an ability to control another person's life. It is extremely reinforcing to do so. Even small amounts of control, such as, for example, police officers receive, or judges receive, or any kind of person who has a responsibility in the community, that is very easily abused because it's so addicting once again. So we as a society must come together and address these human beings who basically are suffering from a behavioral addiction. It's not as obvious as a behavioral addiction to, let's say, drugs or alcohol, which will immediately show deterioration to your body, to your social system. But this one is actually being artificially reinforced constantly, even though it's really bad for a majority of human population. But because the majority doesn't control and the small minority does, that is why that behavior is so reinforcing. And as you also noticed, since I was young, everything I watched on TV presented that there is people who have more and there's people who have less. And all of that information has always been presented in a just admit it and live with it kind of form. Basically, this is the way things are. Some have more and some have less. And there is nothing anyone should be doing about it. That's the general attitude. And even beyond that, what I've observed and what I have watched as a child is that they're promoting that kind of hoarding of wealth. For example, princesses that can live in a castle with I don't know how many rooms, while in that same movie they can show poor people who are outside of that castle. And I mean, I'm thinking of several animation companies that do this, and they're still producing movies that are doing this. And I don't want you for 1 second to think that it is just random. All of those movies, all of their scripts are screened by people who are controlling the narrative. And there is no way that they're going to publish a cartoon in which the rich are completely slaughtered. They will always make a cartoon. Maybe they will allow that, but they will have a person that has extra access to resources who doesn't share those resources and is cheating in the way of getting those resources. But nevertheless, their behavior is reinforced. The public doesn't have anything bad to say about it. And basically, they're teaching us to be passive, to not stand up, to just accept the environment as it is without asking critical questions about why is this like that? Who is calling the shots? What is the function of any of this happening? Only by asking those questions can we rise up as a society. Only by asking these critical questions can we start unraveling the net of lies that has been reinforced from many, many generations that they were taught to tell to the lower class societies. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and there's more to come. Remember, behave progressively.